Welcome to r/Malicious Compliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter but not the spirit of a request. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. The first story. This guy got into a fender bender in my classic car, and I took him to court and won. The second story. Acting manager reports me for my work not being detailed enough to undermine me for the promotion. So I wrote down every detail. The third story. This year there was a typo on the policy. The staff exploited the typo. We all get raises. And the first story is, you don't want to pay for repair? I guess I'll see you in court. My first car was a 1979 Dodge Magnum GT, but it died on me and I couldn't get it to work again. I sold it for scrap in late October 2017. And I saved every penny I could to get another classic car. I went without eating during my lunches at work. I was dedicated to getting a classic car. I was in 11th grade at the time, so I could only work 24 hours a week at $9.50 an hour. So by the time I had $3,000 saved up, I was ready to find a car. I found a 1974 Pontiac Catalina in late March 2018. It was a Pontiac 400 cubic inch V8, D-restricted. Removing emission control systems, it's legal in Michigan. Given performance parts like an Edelbrock carburetor and was paraded around as a show car across the state. I was in love. Everything from the maroon paint and white vinyl roof to the aftermarket police hubcaps. I bought it and it was my crowning achievement so far in life. Fast forward a few months. I had been driving the Catalina daily every day since I bought it, and I was planning on going on a road trip around Lake Michigan later in the summer. It was the last summer break of high school, and I wanted to celebrate by doing this grand road trip. It was the day before my 18th birthday. It was a nice day to go cruising around in a 70s land yacht. I pull up to an intersection, close to my house on. I was driving and both of my parents were in the car. We stop at the intersection at a green light because an early 2000s F-150 was trying to do an illegal turn. Michigan has a weird road design thing called the Michigan turnaround. This isn't the first time I saw someone do this, so I didn't think twice. I look up and the light turned yellow. I said aloud, I'm gonna wait this light out. I don't want to get out there when the light turns red. And then the entire car lurches forward. I immediately shifted into park and get out. A red 02 or 03 Pontiac Montana, undamaged, had bumped into my Catalina, damaged. We pulled into a Denny's and wait for the police to arrive. I chat with my mom about what I can do. She told me about a mini tort claim. It was the only thing I could do with PLPD insurance. I could only go after the other driver if I had over $1,000 in damages on my car. I went around my hometown and found a single shop that would even attempt to work on my Catalina, and their estimate was $1,675. I couldn't believe it, and he was even knocking $200 off because I knew him. With this, I was able to start a mini tort claim. A week goes by, and I get a call from an unknown number. I like to F with the phone scammers who say my warranty's out of date. I answer while I was taking an SH before I needed to go into work, and the call went something like this. Insurance company rep. Hello, is this OP? Me. Yeah, why? Insurance company rep. I see you issued a claim about an accident involving a Catalina. Me. Yes, I did. Insurance company rep. Well, the person who hit you doesn't have that on his policy. Me. What does that mean? Will I get any money from him? Insurance company rep. Nope. Have a great day. Hangs up. I panicked and was nearly late to work, trying to figure out what was going on. I called my insurance company and they told me to sue. I had a cut and dry case, and I'd get the same amount of money if I sued, so that's what I did. I gathered everything I needed and filed the claim with the small claims court. A month and a half later, court date. This is the first time I could talk to him directly and not through insurance companies. The judge asks me, my parents, P, the other driver, D, and his girlfriend, DG, to step into a small room to see if we can settle the matter privately. His girlfriend starts the conversation at me. I was the only one who sat down for this. DG, you were in the intersection when we hit you. You should have gone through the light. D, and where did you get the $1,675 figure? I hit a tree going 40 when I was your age and it only cost me $800. P, the age of the vehicle is the reason the repair cost is so high. Me, you also made the bumper cut through fiberglass moldings on both sides. You bent the frame and bent the entire bumper up. Not only is it an outdated platform, but I need to get 1974 parts, because that's the only body panels that will fit. The age and rarity of the parts is what caused the prices to be higher in this case. DG, Well, you shouldn't have been driving a car that old. Me, you shouldn't have assumed that I would have gone through the yellow light. We didn't come to an agreement before the trial. I went into the courtroom expecting a long and heated legal battle. The case didn't even last 5 minutes. The judge said to D, "You both saw the truck do the illegal turn, and you both saw the yellow light. D should have slowed due to an obstruction, and OP stopped because of it. It's law in the state of Michigan to stop at a yellow light if it's safe to do so. The case goes to the plaintiff, me. The court is adjourned. D is still paying me his installment checks to this day." The second story is, nitpick my perfectly acceptable work? Okay. I work as a criminal investigator within a federal agency, and my job is pretty much what it seems like. I investigate crimes within the jurisdiction of the agency I work at. It's not as glamorous as it seems, and it involves a ton of paperwork. Most of the time I have to handle evidence and log them, take notes, make connections and send copies of them, if they're scannable, to where they need to go. The thing with evidence is that in order for it to be admissible in court, we have to know everywhere it's ever been, who's been in contact with, and what's been done to it. How we track it is we sign it out, and it records the time we take it and the time it's returned. If it's in your possession, it must stay in your possession at all times, and it cannot leave your sight. Usually notes look something like this. Evidence box number taken out by name at date and time for the purpose of reason. Evidence C is taken out of the box for admin action and details. Evidence D is taken out of the box to be scanned to other agency for reason. You get the picture. There has to be a valid reason for everything, and there must be a trail, or else who knows what has happened to it. My notes include more than there needs to be because I'm super paranoid about not having enough detail. Also, it's worth noting that it's the manager's job to look over the evidence and sign off on every line to make sure it's valid. Recently, there's been a change in management, as my current manager received a promotion to a much better role. A guy, let's call him Kevin, from a different team became our acting manager until someone else was appointed to the role. Now there are 3 people who have a shot at this promotion. Me, another guy from my team, and Kevin. Kevin didn't like that he had competition and began making my life hell. From calling me out in front of everyone because I came back from my break a minute late because there was a queue in the washroom, to deliberately making it more difficult to do my job by taking my criminal investigations admin assistant off my case because she was needed elsewhere. I later asked what she was assigned to, and she said it was general admin, which we have a person for. The last straw was when he pulled me into his office and chastised me about how my notes compromised a criminal case because there wasn't enough detail. This has never been an issue before, and I was confused. I needed to include everything I do with the evidence. Everything, I said? Every single thing you do, he smugly replied. Yes, sir. Now, anything that could compromise a case is sent up the chain and is reported to HR and any other department that might help fix the situation. I knew this, and I knew what he was going to tell me to do. Writing out all those details is enough work, and he was going to make it worse. I asked for a copy of the letter he sent to HR, which he happily handed over, and I went on my way. The letter was to have my back in case he decided to write me up for what I was about to do. It took a few days before I needed to log out evidence again, but boy was I excited. Usually the most tedious job became the one I was looking forward to the most. You want detail, Kevin? I'll give you detail. My notes looked like this. Evidence box 001 taken off of shelf with both hands out by OP. At date, hour, minute, second. For the purpose of reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, reason 14. Evidence box 001 was placed on the table beside the scanner, with the label facing the scanner. Evidence box 001 as scanned at date, hour, minute, second. Evidence box 001 was picked up by both hands, and OP walked through the left door of the double doors. OP took a right turn to the end of the office, and then another right to cubicle 9033. Evidence box 001 was placed at the right innermost corner of the desk at date, hour, minute, second. The lid of evidence box 001 was taken off by both hands and placed on the floor under the desk, leaning against the cubicle wall. OP lifts evidence F off of evidence B with her right hand. OP's ring on her right middle finger touches the outside of the evidence F bag. OP places it in the top right corner of the box at date, hour, minute, second. OP looks at the evidence box to determine which evidence she's going to examine. OP sits down. OP moves her mouse to wake her computer up. And so on. My notes, which are usually around 5 pages, were 18 pages long, and he had to sign off on every single line. I reverted back to my old way of note-taking, and Kevin never complained again. Oh, and he didn't get the job. The other guy from my team did, and he's doing great. The last story is, follow policy as written, not as verbally stated? Got it. Where I work, we have the same basic concept of end-of-year goal setting and potential merit raises, etc. that every place I've ever worked has. The difference here is a requirement to demonstrate in a documented manner that you have, over the course of a year, appreciated a coworker for doing their job at least 25 times. I'm not joking. We have to, in a formally written way, somehow phrase, "Thank you for not checking out today and doing what's expected of you every day. I appreciate you doing your job and not getting me assaulted, stabbed, or killed today. I work at a prison." Before today's memo about these appreciation letters, we had to go through a really painful bureaucratic nightmare to get credit for one. We had to go to the administration office, only open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., to access a digital form. We had to go through all the steps to explain why we were thanking them and pick out of 9 options what value we were thanking them for. We then had to type out a minimum of 100 words, our thank you, and describe a specific situation. We then keyed in the date and approximate time, location, witnesses, etc., then print the form, make 7 copies, and distribute each copy to a different department. If all 7 admin agreed that it was an appropriate thank you moment and turned them in, approved in the allotted time frame, then a copy would be given to the recipient, and we would get an email saying we could count this thank you towards our goal. Obviously, only administrative staff ever actually met this credit. We carry trail mix in our side pocket because we don't have the staffing numbers or the time to sit down and eat. If I can't eat it walking to my next duty or immediately put it down to respond, I don't get it on shift. And who on earth is going to be that guy and ask for relief to go write a freaking thank you? Last year, our goals were announced in muster, roll call, and pre-shift meeting. As typical, with no mention that custody staff must meet the thank you goal to get our 15-cent merit raise at the end of the year. At the end of the year, our custody staff got their raise, and we got the union involved. It was passed down after several meetings with administration that the policy had been changed, and we should have read the policy for changes. We're expected to follow the policy as written, regardless if something is omitted during the announcement. Well, 0 custody staff, again, are on course to getting the precious 25. We honestly all boycotted this year out of protest, and admin finally got wise that there might be an issue. During muster this week, it was announced that our line only can now send an email from our work account to a coworker, saying something about them doing something right that day, or being a good person, or thank you, minimum of 150 words, and BCC our supervisor to get credit. Remembering the burn last year, I got my hands on the policy change immediately after muster. After reading the mind-numbing mumbo-jumbo, I found nestled in the official policy a beautiful typo. The policy stated, the electronic correspondence must meet the minimum word count to receive gold credit, for eligible staff as outlined above. The appropriate supervisor is mandated to ensure the word count is specifically the verbiage of the applicable appreciation statement, and must be equal or greater to than a count of 15. You read right, a word count of 150 according to the supervisor announcement, but 15 according to the policy. I immediately jumped on an open computer in the muster room and sent out an email with that specific line highlighted as a reply all to the last mass email sent out. Every single staff that was eligible has hit their 25 mark in a whopping 32 hours. The warden released a video email to custody staff this morning. He was laughing while he basically told us, in a more politically correct way, that the administration captain and the finance office are losing their minds, that everyone gets a raise this year. But he accepts defeat in us using their words to win against them. An excellent job to whoever found the policy typo. All he sees they can do at this point is laugh and marvel at how fast we happily played by their rules. God bless someone dropping a 0 on an official policy, and I want to shake the hand of whoever proofread that policy. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.